sometimes when you are walking in your purpose and your calling, that is when you're going to be attacked the most.
What's up, y'all? It's your favorite host, AybrielBTV, and welcome to another episode of Down and Dirty. Today we have some amazing creatives on the couch. We have Phillip. He's an actor. He's interviewed many celebrities, so he's doing his big thing on the camera, in front of the camera and behind. We have Jazmine, an author, and she is the author of Anesthesia and the Blood of Jesus. And we have Destiny here with us, owner of Pieces of Shalom. Mm-hmm. And we have Chantelle, owner of Mahogany Hippie. How y'all feeling today?
Good. Really good.
Good. Y'all looking good. I'm excited.
Excited to be here.
Yes. Creatives, I think it's such an important topic because there's so many creatives, but you never really hear the story behind the brand or who they are, the grind. So I'm excited to get into it. But of course, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves a little bit further. We'll start with you.
Hey guys. So I'm Chantelle. I am the owner of Mahogany Hippie. It is a self-care brand that prioritizes your mental wellness through holistic self-care.
Yes.
I am a mom of 3, a wife, a sister, a friend. I do all the things and I'm all the people. I created this brand to really pour back into myself and to help others pour into themselves as well with some much needed self-care every day. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Girl, you can't.
Trust me, I know if I'm not good, then nobody else in my house is good. Okay. So anything that I can do to take care of myself, take care of my own wellness, I'm going to do. So Mahogany Hippie is all about taking care of your own mental wellness through holistic self-care that you can do every day, any day, right at home.
I love that. I'm a good self-care. I love to see good self-care now.
No, that's right. Hi, I'm Destiny Beckham, owner of Pieces of Shalom. That is PIECES of SHALOM on Instagram and TikTok. And I created this brand that basically is luxury streetwear to symbolize peace and serenity within while blending the artistry of fashion and still keeping things great quality and still symbolizing, peace within basically. So yeah, I'm a former graduate with a master's degree and I basically created this brand from a God-given vision and I feel like it was just meant to be put out there. So I know that I did my part and I'm just ready for God to work on his behalf. So yeah.
Okay, come on now. You show up and God gonna do the rest.
He will.
Hello, I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My name is Jazmine, also known as Your Fave, Jazz on Fire, and I am a storyteller, a creative, and a mover and shaker. I like to say I make things happen. I also pride myself on being a jazz of all trades, so because I can do it all, I can do it all. So I write, I shoot video, I'm also a videographer, photographer, I'm in front of the camera, I do spoken word, and my newest venture is a soon-to-be published author. So I am the author of Anesthesia and the Blood of Jesus, which was given to me similar to how Destiny said, God-given gift and vision. He graced me to live through surviving a brain aneurysm. So here I am telling the story. So yeah.
I love that. Come on now, y'all coming with the bag. Y'all coming with the heat today. What you got, Phillip?
Well, my name is Phillip Hodge III. I am an actor and I'm also a co-host of Empower Talk Radio. I am a creative. I love to just be in front of the camera and also outside of the camera. So it's always been a part of me to entertain. Growing up, I was an athlete. I ran track, but then, I just kind of had that shift towards my college career. I'm a junior at KSU, but towards my shift in junior year, I decided to be an entertainer, an actor. So, I just love being in front of the camera, entertaining the folks and making people laugh and, yeah.
I love that. Okay. Right. Okay. SZN is a bad stuff. We'll let y'all have it. So y'all ready to get into it?
Yep.
Let's get it.
All right, let's do it. Talk to me a little bit more about the personal triumphs you guys had to overcome when chasing your dreams as a creative or even as a business owner.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the most obvious triumphs is finances. So as I said, I was currently in school when I was given this vision, and I just felt like, I'm a student athlete. I've been a student athlete for 5 years. I played softball for 20 years, so there's nothing else I know as far as sports when I go to college. And so I just felt like the finances weren't there, but the vision was there. So I constantly just had to be patient and, wait for him to give me the pieces while still trying to maintain myself and my basically my passion. So I feel like that's just a personal triumph that you have to overcome. Like, you want something to sell and you want something to be pushed through, but you have to just be patient because, you know, in reality, we still have life and we still have things to take care of. So yeah, I just feel like that's a triumph that, you know, eventually you have to overcome. And when I graduated and actually had the opportunity to get a job, then I was able to fuel that passion and fuel that vision. So yeah.
I love that. I do.
Yeah.
They always talk about $1 in a dream, but
Right.
dreams ain't cheap. They
Is
cost
it
a lot.
It costs a lot.
Is it $1? Like,
It is. And sometimes
Not at all.
it's a couple $1,000s sometimes,
It's a couple
depending
thousand.
on the dream. And I think I really like that you touched on that, because sometimes when God does give you a vision, you don't know when it's going to come to pass. You don't know when it's going to happen. And that's the scary part about it, because you're pouring all this money into your dream and you're like, is this even really going to take off? You know, or when, or what if this takes off 10 years from now?
Exactly.
You get what I'm
An
saying?
overnight success is not overnight.
Exactly.
Let's be
Exactly.
real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think finances hold a lot of creatives back, but I'm a firm believer, like, when God gives you vision, move.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
So
Do your part.
So for me,
He gonna
like,
give you
I
your
think
part.
my biggest triumph is just starting. Like,
Oh, I love
I
that.
feel that.
when it
Oh my
comes
God.
to chasing your dreams and your goals and going after what you want, sometimes it's just, you just have to start.
Yes.
You just have to make that move. You might not know how it's going to play out. You probably don't know how it's going to play
Exactly.
out, but you're never going to know if you don't move.
That's
right.
smart
Or even
right
get
there.
that start, like you said.
It
Exactly.
just starts. So for
That's-
me, like, my biggest triumph is the fact that I started. Like,
yeah.
okay,
like
and
that.
now that I started, I'm not gonna stop.
I love that. I love that.
But just start.
That's
I love
true.
that.
I agree. I feel like for me, and it was kind of like a piece of advice from my therapist, but it was like, girl, you just got to do it. Just do it. And so my first like episode of my podcast was kind of a TikTok video of me saying, hey, y'all, literally in a chair spinning. Hey, y'all. So I got this thing I'm going to do, and I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it, but we just going to do it, and y'all going to tune in, and this is how it's going to be.
I like
and then
that.
that transitioned from that to me going to buy like a $10 lavalier mic on Amazon and starting my podcast, and then I got an actual mic, and then it just kept building and growing. And I
You
was
started
having
believing
guests.
more, yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like on that topic, I feel like for me, I think there are plenty of creatives in Atlanta and everywhere really, but sometimes the biggest enemy is yourself. And I know for me, I was beating myself up so much because I was like, okay, I moved here to Atlanta and I had this big old dream. I'm gonna be a personality, I'm gonna be a media maven. I got here and I got so stifled by fear. I was like, oh my gosh, but everybody's doing it.
That's
And
true.
like people are gonna look at me if I'm
That's
at
what
an
we
event with a
think
mic.
if everybody's
Exactly.
doing it.
Exactly.
And even if everybody is doing it,
they're not doing it how you're doing it.
Exactly.
and if everybody's doing it, girl, ain't nobody worried about you. You need to
Exactly.
be your own lane.
Yeah,
and
that
I think
part.
for me, once I got out of my own head, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna walk in every room. First of all, like I deserve to be there, but also like I'm that girl. This works out for me.
Because I am.
I am.
Like, I am that girl. Just let you know.
Because imposter syndrome will not win.
It
And
was-
so that is kind of what brought me to my next question, because imposter syndrome, honestly, I didn't even really know it was a thing, but it's now a big thing that people need to highlight. So have you guys ever faced that? And how did you overcome that imposter syndrome?
Still overcoming it.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day, I feel like every day that you show up and you're nervous or anxious or you don't know where it's going to go or what you're going to accomplish, I feel like every day that you show up and you face those fears, you're facing imposter syndrome.
I
And
love
you're
that.
you're just overcoming it. At the end of the day, you just have to be bigger than that. Your goals and your aspirations just have to be bigger than the fear, because the fear is going to be there. I mean, I filmed in public for the first time not too long ago, and I was
Yes,
terrified.
that's big.
That's a big win.
Yeah, but I was terrified. I had my little mini mic walking around the mall. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But
At least
I
you
did
tried
it.
and you
but
went
I
out
did
there.
it, and I was
Yeah.
scared the entire
rejection is
time.
tough.
And even after, I'm still holding the mini mic. But even after, like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, but I did it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
like,
one
you can
thing
do it
checked
again,
off.
and
Like,
it
boom.
did.
And then I'm
and
going to
again.
continue to do it,
Yeah.
but I'm facing imposter syndrome every day.
You gotta put
like
yourself
that.
in an uncomfortable position so that way you can succeed. If you are always comfortable in a situation, you're going to stay stagnant and stay in the
Yep.
same area. So you gotta be able to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to be able to grow.
I like that.
I
like
think
that.
for me, the biggest thing that I used to combat imposter syndrome was understanding that all your assignment is to just show up as yourself. How can you be an imposter of yourself? And I think I'm not gonna lie. Now saying that, easier
Right.
said than
Spoken
done.
word. Spoken word.
Right.
Right? Like, I did want to
But I think the biggest thing is understanding that as long as you're showing up for yourself, like who is to tell you who you are? other than yourself. And again, I still deal with it. I still struggle with it. But understanding that once you do show up as yourself, somebody is going to admire that. Somebody can be like, dang, she is so her. Like, I love how she's so much of herself. She's not in her head. Now, obviously, inside I am, but they don't know that because I'm just showing up as me.
I like that.
I like that.
And so how would you, I guess, Phillip, you said that you've dealt with it just to kind of, how would you overcome that? Like, are you currently still dealing with it, or how are you overcoming imposter syndrome?
Sometimes I still deal with it.
Okay.
It's the fear of being able to be out in public and just be myself. A lot of times, you know, we feel like we got to put on a character. And just, you know, I even now, I'm still dealing with putting out a character that I want people to see.
Because you're an actor, so you kind of have to, you know, play both roles. Yeah.
Right. And, you know, because growing up, you know, I used to be called weird and those type of things because, you know, I think outside the box, not like normal people.
Right.
Not saying that you guys are normal, but just regular people. So then, you know, people label that as weird. But, you know, it's like, you know, even now it's just like trying to be yourself and be authentically yourself and know that you have a vision. You gotta work through it, and that you want to be somewhere. You gotta push through. So that's I'm still dealing with it.
I feel like all creatives are weird. I feel like everybody who has, you know, who's trying to take a room in this space, like I feel like we're all weird. I feel like those who think of us as weird are the ones that wish that they could be doing what we're doing.
Right.
So like I embrace being weird now because I used to be called weird in school too. It was like, oh, I'm a little, you know, I'm the awkward black girl.
And I didn't express myself enough because the fear of being called weird. Like the way I express myself is I don't talk about it. I don't do actions. Like I express myself through style or my hairstyles or putting out, you know, my brand is a good way to express myself because I felt like I held so much in to where I'm like, okay, I gotta get it out. Like I gotta do something. So every day I can't put on something basic. Like I'm like, okay, no, this is too basic. Like, nah, this is not me. Like, okay, because that's just the way I express myself and get it out. And I feel like the way I overcome imposter syndrome with my brand is like, I remember what sets me apart from the industry that they call saturated. You know what I mean? Like they call clothing brands and streetwear or things like that saturated, but it's like, you're just not doing it how I'm doing it. I actually put out quality pieces. You know, people like to just put out things and get it out there just for them to take people's money in reality and just to sell and provide for themselves. And it's like, no, I really put this out because I feel like when you put this on, this is going to be a go-to for the next 5 to 10 years. Like the quality pieces that I put out, it's like no, this is not that. Like this is this. You know what I'm saying? It's not cotton. You know what I'm saying? This is French terry. So this ain't that. This ain't that. So that's why I just remember I'm like, okay, you know, my prices reflect the quality in my brand. You know what I'm saying? So I really just take pride in that. So yeah,
about the industry being saturated, it's more like there's no individuality. So it's like, you know, and that's why you got to be able to be comfortable in your own skin. Because once you're comfortable in your own skin and you know that you're different and you present that to people, then people are going to buy into it.
Especially if it's authentic. People
Yeah.
love the real thing. Like, okay, she does what I do. She's a personality too. But hers feels like a persona.
Instead of like, this is a real vibe.
I literally woke up, this is funny. This is
that part, like,
everybody can't do that.
Don't make it.
Exactly. Like there's plenty of brands that, you know, sell body care, skincare products, but this is deeper than skincare. This is different than body care. This is about your mental wellness. The ingredients in these products.
Because baby, I think I commented under. I was like, ooh, that's my.
I love that. Exactly. It's therapeutic and it's aromatherapy and it's like meant for self-care. So like you can shower with anything, but you're gonna have an experience with some mahogany hippie.
Okay. Let them know.
And the motivation driving that. You know what I'm saying? Just how you said you're a mother, so it's something that you crave.
This is from, you know, me needing this. Me needing more than just Dove or Aybriel. You know, this is from me needing something that is going to actually take care of me. Like I only got 5 minutes to run away in the bathroom.
And that's
I'm going to make it the best that I can.
I love that. And so talk to me a little bit more about what are you guys constantly learning, or how are you enhancing your craft as a creative? Because of course you always should be growing. You all should be trying to better yourself. You know, when I first started off from our season 1, we didn't have any of this. You know, it was a microphone, it was a phone, and we're like
my
this.
mic in my mouth.
And so now talk to me a little bit more about how you guys are growing, whether that means staying up on trends or just kind of, you know, bettering yourself, investing in yourself.
For me, I'm a numbers guy. I like to look at numbers.
Okay.
When I'm on my Instagram or TikTok, I like to see the profile views, see who's viewing my stuff.
Okay.
And also for me as well, you know, as an actor, you know, I've always been a comedic, you know, character or personality. Right. So, you know, last year I came up with the goal that, okay, I want to be able to show a different side of my acting. You know, of course, go to acting classes. But I auditioned for more roles that were deep and more dramatic in nature.
That.
And, you know,
Challenging yourself.
Right, really challenging myself. And I really enjoyed it. And I think, like, I've always been the type of guy where, you know, my biggest attribute is someone that sees how things are and wanting to outdo how, you know, people do it. That's why I say, like, I'm a numbers guy. Because if I see some people doing it, like, you know, it goes back to the other conversation about individuality. Like, Phillip Hodge, the brand, is, you know, he's different than everybody else. Yeah. So, you know, I like to put myself in uncomfortable positions so that way I can grow as an actor, but also grow as a human being. And also dipping into the media aspect as well, you know. That was something that I never thought I could do. You know, majoring in communications in college, I was like, you know, I'm going to be a sports broadcaster. And
yes,
you have
right,
and you have right, and you have those times in classes where they just kind of tell you stop saying or, you know, those filler words. And, and I was kind of like, I don't think I can do this. But when I got shout out to Hakeem, my bad, I'm going to make this.
No, you're good.
Shout out to Hakeem from Empower Talk, but he asked me to be a part of the podcast. So, you know, I had a few talks with my parents and whatnot, and they had said you should do it. And I think I'm the most comfortable now than I've ever been.
I love that.
Putting myself in a comfortable position. So.
That's that growth.
I love that.
And showing up every day. For sure. That's how you get comfortable.
I love that.
I think that is a really big thing. You just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I
think that's a way that I'm growing myself. Like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing things like filming in public and speaking on podcasts and things of that nature. But I'm always, and also trying to learn. Like, I'm seeing what everybody's into. Like, I'm searching on YouTube, I'm searching on Google. I'm making sure, like, I just stay up to date. I'm speaking to my mentor. Like, I'm really just always trying to make sure that I'm in touch with what people are actually wanting to make sure that I continue to provide that. Because if they don't want it, then you
provide,
exactly.
You gotta,
what am I doing it for?
Right. You got to stay up to date.
But to do that, like, I'm getting really comfortable with being uncomfortable because I just got to do it.
I love that. As a creative, I don't think we talk a lot about burnout. You know, burning both ends of the candle. I know I'm still trying to find that balance, you know, because when you're chasing a dream, sometimes you have to be everything. You know, you have to be customer service, you got to be marketing, you know, so it's really hard to find that balance. So tell me a little bit more about how you guys deal with burnout and have you found that balance?
So I actually feel like I burnt myself out for a full year. I took about a year away from my business. I was still, you know, doing it, coming in here and there, but I was not being as consistent with it because the year previously, like, I was like, I'm going to go all in, and I was just so tunnel visioned and just so, you know, one track focused on having this successful business and doing all the things. And like, I accomplished the goals that I wanted to accomplish, but at what cost?
Yeah.
I realized, like, even my kids were like, oh, mommy, do you love the computer more than you love us? And I'm like, what? How could you even think that?
Right.
But then it's like, what have I been showing them? What have I been doing? I've been going all in.
That's good.
And then it's like, I hit the goals that I wanted to hit, but my family life was not in chaos or shambles, but it could have been better.
And that starts trickling down in every area.
Exactly. And then just my mental health as well, because it's like I'm always chasing the next goal. I never gave myself time to, like, appreciate what I have accomplished and what I have done so far. It just got to the, and then, you know, I'm staying up 24 hours a day, 72 hours straight, you know, because just trying to get the work done. Like, okay, I got to get this. And I feel like I burnt myself out for a full year. And now I'm in the space where I have business hours.
Yeah.
I treat my job like I do as if I was going to work. I work from 8 to 5. That's it. After that, I'm closing my laptop. I'm done. I'm taking care of myself. I'm prioritizing other things in my life as well to alleviate some of that burnout and to not have it happen again. I realize, you burn out when you're trying to focus so heavily on one thing and you're not caring about or nurturing anything else. So now, like, all of my attention is no longer on just one thing. I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of, my family, my household, and my business. Everything has its time and its place. And that's the balance that I've kind of found.
That 8 to 5 kind of
Yes. Like a schedule, getting a schedule, even if it's not, the same schedule every day. Sometimes I might choose to work, midnight to 6 a.m., but during the day I'm asleep.
So
or
it's
I'm
those
just
hours, so
relaxing.
creating those like hours. You would
Exactly.
say. Okay.
Exactly. Like you really have to have a schedule to like, and to, not burn yourself out.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so is that what you do full time right now? Your business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My business is what I do full time.
Okay.
I love that.
I agree. I feel like setting a schedule, but also setting expectations and then managing them. So I know as a creative, we're constantly putting out content. So I had my podcast, and I started off, I was like, okay, boom, y'all, let me be chatting with y'all every week. And then I started to get into it and realized how unrealistic it was to do it every week, especially when I'm my own team.
Yeah.
And I feel like as creatives, like you said, we do it all. I feel like if I can do it, I'm like, okay, well, if I can edit, I'm gonna edit. And if I can shoot it, I'm gonna shoot it. But it's like, girl, sometimes you gotta use help.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's the biggest
my
thing
hardest
I've
thing.
learned.
Yes.
Yeah, the biggest
Yes.
thing I've had to
ask for
learn
help.
as a creative. Even though I can do it all, sometimes it's good to partner with other creatives. Like, okay, if you can't necessarily, because I know we've talked about like financing the dream. If you can't necessarily afford like a graphic designer, maybe you can say, hey, I ain't really got the funds. I can't afford your fee, but I know you need an edit soon, and you can hit me up for that. So figuring out ways to kind of
barter services.
We went back to the olden days. Like you give me a nice
I
little
love a good barter.
So I feel like setting expectations where like, I'm not coming off the rip swinging like, hey y'all, I'm gonna give y'all this every week. I'm gonna scale it back. So that way when I do, like if I do fall short or if I do get tired,
People
if I
aren't
gotta take a
looking for
break.
it.
Exactly. Like I'm gonna start this monthly, and if y'all get it bi-monthly or you get it twice a month, ooh, that's a little treat for y'all. So
Exactly.
I think for me that's been the biggest thing, but then also realizing when I can pull in other people to support me. So.
Yeah,
I like that.
100%.
My biggest thing has always been time. When I started acting, I told myself, I had the 3 B's. Like the 3 B's were, in 2021, it was the building block year. 2022, I lost the train of thought for what 2022 was. 2023 was the year boom. So for me, with these goals, I would stay booked a lot, not just from the standpoint of acting, but I was also modeling. I was doing school, and you're combining all these things. And I saw that I'm missing, like, say my sister's birthday 2 years ago. I missed her birthday just because I was booked, and you lose those precious moments with your family and your friends because you're chasing the goal and the dream. And I've read Will Smith's book, or I watched Kevin Hart's Heart to Heart show on Peacock, and they were talking about how they got so enthralled with the work that they just forget about family life. And it's one thing you want to be successful, and then you're also thinking about a legacy to carry too.
Yeah.
And I know, although I'm young, the legacy is always on my mind.
Yeah.
Like I see what my
You gotta
parents have
start
done.
young, yeah.
Right. I see what my parents have done, so it's like for me, I want to carry that legacy on, or my grandfather and then my great grandfather. It's like, how can I make the Hodge name solidify? And that's what I've always been caught up. But now I'm starting to kind of reel it in. I'm starting to understand. Like this year, I haven't been as booked, and some of it is because like I realized, I was starting to get overwhelmed and starting to put a lot of pressure on myself.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I'm feeling, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a me thing, but it's like sometimes you feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders. And like for me, sometimes my heart would just beat fast. And because I'm feeling that. So now I'm just kind of learning how to just take a break, reel it in. So.
And a good way to also, I've learned to alleviate burnout is Just pre-planning. Like, I was never really a planner. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wake up today. I don't know what
plan
today.
my life out.
So what today has in store for me, but I'm gonna try to get this in. And then sometimes I wouldn't go as planned, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of another form of procrastination for me. And so I'm like, okay, let me pre-plan. Let me do a couple of videos in a day. So if I have something going on, which I'm very busy, if I have something going on this day, I already got the video drafted. I already got things in my back pocket that I can just post somewhere just to say, okay, I did it. I got the content out. Because I think burnout is essential at a certain point, to a certain extent. So, with my category, clothing brand, it's like, okay, the only burnout you should be experiencing is in the beginning. You getting the orders together, you customizing the designs, you're customizing your brand, you getting the website ready, you're doing all that stuff. But once that's set, you just kind of wait for the bookings to come in and the orders to come in, and you're just kind of being patient for that and just constantly like marketing and promoting yourself. So it was like, I was burning myself out so bad at a certain point. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what it feels like. I have never experienced that. Like, I played sports my whole life. After that, I'm going to bed. Don't worry about it. I'll figure out it the next day. Do not worry about it. I'm asleep. That's one thing I'm going to do.
She gonna sleep. She gonna sleep.
I'm going to sleep, okay? I will talk to anybody in the morning. So I was like, oh my gosh. But it was kind of motivating. I'm like, wow, like I got all that done in 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? I really accomplished that. So now I kind of just scale back. I'm like, let me just pre-plan, think of the whole week, and try to keep going from there. So yeah.
I like that you guys touch. I'm a big planner, so I'm going to plan out. I have planned out from episode to flyer from now into December, because life does happen, you know, and I think that helps with burnout a little bit, but that also is like my just over whatever. I just like to do that, but yes.
Like,
so
I
it's
have
like
spreadsheets for everything.
I want to be like you guys.
I have a check mark. Like, okay, I only
like you just
did
have to.
68% today. Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go for 70.
Yes.
Like,
And I
it's in the
love that.
spreadsheet. It's a plan. I have it like written down. Yeah.
And it's like when it's off, but I think that I really like that we're touching on burnout, because if you don't address it early on, it starts to kind of, I don't know if you'll really chase your dream as hard because you're tired,
You don't
and
feel passionate anymore.
Yes, and I'm learning that. I'm just like, you know what? Okay, like you said, I went 7 days and I've slept maybe 2 hours in 7 days.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, you know what? It's just not gonna get done today. It's just not gonna get done today. So being content with that as a creative and not feeling, giving yourself grace. Let's say that.
Yes.
Giving yourself grace as a creative.
Yeah.
And so would you guys say, I guess we'll just go around. It's just maybe like a yes or no. What you're currently doing right now, do you believe it's your calling?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to do a little tip check, because you know how as a creative sometimes people just are finding the hottest new thing. Like, oh, this
But
booming right now.
sometimes-
Let's do it.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like it's part of it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the core values in it is still preparing me for something that's an addition to. You know what I mean? Like, say you're doing a clothing brand because yes, you're passionate about fashion, but it's teaching you consistency. It's teaching you patience. It's teaching you the core factors to put you in a different area, and he's gonna bless that part of it. So it's it's really an addition to me, because I feel like I am a jack of all trades. Sometimes I don't really know my purpose yet, because I'm like, does he want me doing this? I'm good at this. I don't want to waste that talent. Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? So it's like, I love that I'm still learning the things that I know that I need to learn, because I haven't really been serious about that my whole life. To put me in a different perspective in my in a different part of my life. So yeah, I'm definitely passionate about my brand. I believe in it 100%, but I feel like it's teaching me something deeper than that as well.
I never believed, when they used to say that you could start off wanting something in the beginning, and your passion or your interest might change over time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
And
your
I-
purpose.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
remember in high school, like, athlete, I ran
Right.
track, and that's something I wanted to go, like, do, and I went hard at it. And even before then, I played basketball, so I always felt like it was my calling to be in sports, whether it's playing or coaching or something in sports. And I had some good success with, sports.
Right.
But now I'm feeling like I am in my calling. I'm
like
the
that.
most I'm in the most happiest of my life, I've had the most success. And I just feel like, it goes back to earlier about when I said like being a character, you know what I'm saying? Before then, it's like you have to put up a character. But now it's kind of like, now I'm being authentically me and it's having some reward to it, So I know, like, to me, I know that this is my calling.
That's amazing, man.
I feel like if I can play devil's advocate for just a bit, I love that and I agree. I feel like once you're in your passion and your calling, you understand that that's exactly where you're supposed to be because you just feel like you're in stride, you're walking in purpose. But I've also come to learn as well that sometimes when you are walking in your purpose and your calling, that is when you're going to be attacked the most.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I'm very spiritual.
We are.
But you have to understand
fighting.
that when
Enemy,
you
fighting.
and you have to realize that when you are doing what God has called you to do, what God has put on your heart, He is going to fight you so hard because it's like, oh shoot, I'm close.
Yeah. You are becoming.
Oh shoot, I'm becoming.
I love that.
Shoot, I am. Like, that is when you're also going to be attacked the hardest. So I think sometimes, especially as creatives, we get discouraged when we have things coming from left and right. We're like, God, I thought you told me to do this. I thought this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm good at it. Why is there so much adversity? You told me to become a photographer. I dropped my camera on the first shoot. Like, what do you mean? And it's like, because the enemy literally knows. Like, he's like, oh, she's getting close to what she's supposed to be doing.
He's
I gotta
peeking to your
fight
future.
Exactly.
And he knows what you're becoming. So he's like, let me try anything. You wake up, you like, oh my goodness.
But that comes to like speaking life into yourself. Like, it comes with a life.
And I feel like the older I've gotten, the more in those moments that I double down.
Yeah,
on
right.
I'm like, you're not doing this today.
Like,
You're not doing this today.
Listen,
like, I already know this game. I know this trick.
It becomes humorous. You just gotta laugh. You're like,
writing my book, I didn't understand it in the beginning, but obviously I'm writing, and then there were some moments where I just couldn't write. Writer's block, creative block.
Oh yeah.
But as I got to certain points where it just felt like things were just not working out, it was not, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give up. But then I started to realize the moments where I was the closest to finishing, the moments where I was the closest to finding an editor, the moments I was closest to the things that I needed to do to advance the book, those were the hardest moments for me, or moments where all of a sudden I'm just like, why do I feel so down? Why did this thought just pop into my head that like nobody's gonna want to hear the story? I just spent like months and months writing this. What you mean nobody want to hear it?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I'm being lied to. Oh, this is a trick. I'm being bamboozled. And I feel like those are the moments. It's crazy because I started to get to a point into the book where when I started to have those moments where it just felt like heavy warfare, I was fighting with myself. I was fighting these thoughts. I was like,
right, you just gotta
eat. Oh, if you attacking me like
this must be the one right here.
Yeah, like if this is how hard you're attacking my gift, then I know it's valuable.
Yes.
I
You gotta trick yourself.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
But I also feel like even if only one person buys this, even if you only get one booking, even if you get one purchase, as long as I'm still walking in my calling,
and I did what I said I was
God didn't say that he just said, I need to say yes. I need to say yes to the call. So I think that as creatives, you be like, dang, ain't nobody buying it, but it's like, well, I already did it, so you gonna buy it or not? And eventually, it comes with those years, and it comes with that. I think I've always struggled with that. I'm like, oh my gosh, she attacked me today. I'm like, oh Lord. And I'm just like, I just start freaking out. I'm like, what's going on? And it's like, girl, you done been here 7 times. You don't get your stuff up.
Do you not remember? This is what you do.
Like, my mom be like, we're not even going to do this thing. I'll be like, but I need to do this with you today. And she's like, no, God said it's going to be what it's going to be. So I really love that for us. And so what advice would you give anyone watching this episode for them? They're creative, they're in your shoes, they're an actor, they're an author, they're a multi-creator, they're a business owner. What advice would you give them?
I would absolutely say do not die sitting on your stories. And so moved here in 2021, and like I said, battling imposter syndrome, but also feeling like I wasn't doing enough. Went to this Black Film Fest, and there was a creator. They all made like their own short films. And I was just like, dang, this is dope. Like they made movies. I love that. And so during the Q&A panel, I stood up and I asked her, I was like, what was the final thing to make you say, forget it, I'm just gonna make my movie? And she was like, I just did it. I was sitting there and I decided I didn't want to die sitting on my stories. And in that moment, I felt that. I was like, girl, that was powerful because I'm a spoken word artist. I'm a poet. I love words. But I was like, I don't know. That just feels me. But at the time, I didn't realize that a year later, I would have almost died sitting on my story, sitting on so many stories and ideas. And so I know it is always easier said than done, but if you are a creative, a creator, an innovator, an entrepreneur, whatever you are, your gift, your story, your idea, it matters. Do not die sitting on it, because if you leave, those stories are going with you. Those ideas are going with you. They matter. They need to be out in the world. And whether it's for one person or 1 million people, do not take it with you. Like, leave it here. We need it.
Come on now.
You never know who that one person that you might touch
that was
will
inspired
be.
by
You
that.
never know. Like,
That's
your
true.
calling could be to help this other person.
One person.
Do something miraculous, spectacular
That
in
might
their
help
lives,
millions
but-
of people.
Exactly. And so, like, your calling could be something simple, but what you were meant to do is impactful.
Yeah.
So what I would say to anybody is just don't give up.
Yeah,
Just
that's
don't
good.
give up. Keep pushing through. Push through the imposter syndrome. Push through the fear. Don't give up. Like, what you have needs to be shared with the world. And you
Yes.
never know who it's going to be for. So just don't stop.
I like that.
Not to piggyback, but like really, even if people don't buy in to what you're doing, into what you're selling, it's your duty to fight through your vision.
Yeah.
You know, God gave you that vision for a reason, and you gotta push through. So that's what I would say.
I love that.
And I would say, stay authentic. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have a specific voice. They have a specific sound, a specific aura to them. Just stay authentic. You know, I know you think that everybody does it, but nobody can do it like you.
Yes.
Nobody can do it like you. So stay authentic and stay true to yourself, really, though.
I love that. I think we had some really, really great conversation
Yeah.
on the couch today. I think it was really helpful. Creatives at home, I hope we encourage you to continue to chase your dreams. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure you attend our live events that are coming up here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Down and Dirty. Bye, guys.
Bye.